Hey everybody, Joe Malone here, coming to you live on Dallas Trading Floor. Well, it's Tuesday, and the inflation numbers came out, and they are not too good. It looks like the inflation situation is very dire. As a matter of fact, we are seeing some of the worst inflation that we have seen, believe it or not, in 30 years. And this is interesting because what I think this is going to what is going to happen here, and again, who knows what's going to happen, but the market for growth stocks is going to be impacted quite significantly. Now, it's very interesting because oil pulled back today too, so it's really kind of a mixed bag. There is one area that has been moving up, and of course that is gold shares. And I want to talk a little bit about that after the slides. But there, but it is an interesting situation. We're going to have to kind of rethink, I think, some things going forward because these inflation numbers are very bad, and it's just one of those things. I'm old enough, believe it or not, to have lived through the last bout of inflation. Now, I remember it all the way back in the Carter administration, and believe me, it was not fun. I mean, people's wages didn't go up, but everything else did, and basically, people lost a lot of buying power. It was really interesting. That's really when the outsourcing of American manufacturing started, because up until then, up until the 1970s, the mid 70s, much of what we consumed in this country, in the United States, was made right here. But because of the inflation, it made many of those prices out of reach for many consumers, and that's really what started the movement of the offshoring movement to manufacture overseas, basically to get rid of the labor component. And I don't know if that's going to be the case here because we've outsourced so much of the manufacturing now in this country. But I do know for a fact that things are going to get expensive and very, very quickly. And so that may be a massive problem. We just don't know. We just don't really know what's going to happen. What's going to happen there. But we have to kind of get get ready for it because I think it's going to be very difficult time. So we may have to kind of rethink some of our thinking. I was stopped out a number of positions today myself. So without further ado, the market is still in a confirmed uptrend, but we have to be careful, I think, here because anytime you have a rise in interest rates, which is the way you stop inflation. Now, they haven't done that. That kills the market for growth stocks. So I think the Fed is going to be under tremendous pressure to raise interest rates, and that will probably do bad things to the to the market for growth stocks, and those are primarily, of course, in the Nasdaq. Here's the indexes as of today. Everything is off. The Dow is off, the S&P is off, and the Nasdaq is off as well. Tesla is continuing kind of a slide. I was stopped out at 1080 on Tesla, but and I tried to come back in, and I don't know if that was successful or not. I came back in at about 1049, and it's pulled back since then. So, it's interesting market. I think we have had quite a few days of an upward market, about 11 or so, and we have to pay the piper, and I think that's what's happening here. Just kind of want to show you the stocks that I was stopped out of today in my portfolio. The first, of course, is an oil stock, interestingly enough, and that is FANG, which is Diamondback Energy. It pulled back significantly today. I was stopped out at 105.98 but it bounced, as you can see, because it bounced right back up to 105.37. So I might have come out of this prematurely. We'll see if this gets support here. But the oil stocks today are off. This one did bounce, not really at any line, not at the 40-day line or anything, but it did bounce. And I was stopped out at 105.98. If you've been following the stocks that I have in the small portfolio. Another one that I was surprisingly stopped out of today, but I did push up my stop losses, was Innovative Industrial Properties. Now with this one, I had pushed my stop loss up, so I actually had a gain in this one because I had done a profit capture by pushing my stop loss up. I was stopped out at 173.01. This one basically, when this slide was taken, it was all the way down to 271. So I did get out of this one with a little bit of profit, which indeed is a good thing. Also, I want to show you Freeport Macron. This is one I was recommending yesterday, and I thought we were definitely in a good position there, but with the general market, this one pulled back. And a relatively tight stop loss on this one. I was stopped out at 37.40 for a little loss, not a huge loss on this one as well. So kind of a day where I'm getting stopped out of a lot. But that's not the it's not just the ones that I got stopped out of. I do have ones that I was buying today, and one of the ones, this is actually one of my favorite stocks. I know that people will laugh at this, but it's called Shoe Carnival. Shoe Carnival. And for some reason, this probably, with all this inflation going on, I think this one actually might do well. It's sort of in a consolidation range, and hopefully it'll move higher. But Shoe Carnival is one of the largest discount shoe companies in America, and coming into the holidays, I think a lot of the gifts this year aren't going to be fancy. They're going to be things like shoes and other things like this, because the American consumer unfortunately just doesn't have is probably not going to have as much this year coming into the holidays. So I think this one should do well, and that is Shoe Carnival. The symbol on Shoe Carnival is, of course, SCVL. That's the symbol for Shoe Carnival. It is buyable right now, and I definitely think that one might be of interest. Now, to protect kind of my position with all this inflation potentially going on, I did buy what I consider a very interesting ETF. This is really the second Bitcoin ETF. Now, if you've been watching me any time, you know that I've traded the Gbtc. That's up today too, but I decided that I wanted to take a look at the new ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. Symbol on that is BITO. And this one is in the futures market. Now, with the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, the Gbtc, that basically they have about 4% of the world's Bitcoin. This one is different in that it doesn't actually have the underlying. It basically deals with the futures market for Bitcoin, and that's been up significantly. So this one, $43.74 ETF. It does track the futures market for Bitcoin. So this is a kind of an easy way that you can move in and out of Bitcoin and sort of get Bitcoin exposure to your portfolio. It's not owning Bitcoin, but it is the futures for Bitcoin, and you might be interested in this one. Relatively new ETF. Its symbol on it is BITO. It's the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy, and it's definitely it's definitely something that you might think you might see as a very good potential on to get exposure to Bitcoin, but in a very orderly way that you can move in and out of quickly. So I'm going to see how it works. Of course, I'll report back to you, and I'll show you how I'm doing with it. We'll see. Just wanted to show you, my overall holdings. It's a sea of red out there. I just wanted to kind of put it out there for everyone. Boy, I tell you, man, it is a sea of red. My Salesforce.com CRM is down about 3%, $10 a share. My old favorite Robert Half is down. Invesco QQQ Trust. This is one that tracks the Nasdaq 100 index. This one may be somewhat in jeopardy if this inflation really starts to kick in. So I'm going to look at this one carefully. I may be selling this one. I have good profit in this one, but I may be selling this. I don't know. I sold IIPR. It's in here, but I did sell it today. It is down. I was able to sell it, right before, little bit below the close, at a little bit of a profit. I've had quite a profit on this one. Ford seems to be holding up very, very well. Interestingly enough, the price on it 1930. I've been in since about $17, and it did shave about 4% off today, but the volume was up, so that's significant as well. Tesla bounced, as you can see. I didn't get it at the right part of the bounce. I started buying it at I sold my Tesla yesterday, pretty much everything at 10:40. Well, on Friday and then on Monday at basically 10:80. I did start coming back in at about 10:49. I don't know. It's pulled back since then, but it's up. So this is going to bounce. I think we're going to get some nice support on this one. This one is interesting in that I think institutions are coming back into this. There's a way I kind of was able to tell that so it pulled back hard, but it looks like the institutions are now coming back in and buying, which is good. Again, this is one I did add to the position. I pyramided into this one. Shoe Carnival, it's down a little bit today, but I do think that this one will hopefully continue to go up. It's definitely got a good chart pattern. AMSL, this is quite an expensive stock. It's down a little bit today, but this is the most valuable stock in the European stock. So very interesting stock here. Freeport McMoRan, I got stopped out of this one today too, which kind of perturbs me a little bit because I do think it's going to come and move back in. But I'm pretty strict when I come in on these swing trades. I typically have a stop. Now it's typically a stop at 3 to 5% below where I bought it. So, and I just if it touches that, I'm out. I may start because it's getting more volatile. I may do the decisions towards the end of the day, but that's sort of my, I put it kind of on automatic pilot. It sort of works for me, but I'm out of FCX unfortunately today. This is the one I came into, and this is the BitO. This is the new Bitcoin Futures ETF. It's down a little bit today, but overall I think it's going to do pretty darn well. I have a good feeling with that one. So that's just something that that's just something that's out there. Well, thanks everybody, and we need to get into the questions. Thank you for holding, and let's see. Kind of started off with. Is the Mecca direction changing? Yeah, I think that there definitely is. I definitely think that you could say that because, we're starting to see, we're starting to see a little bit of a pullback, and I do think that is indeed, I definitely think that's indeed the case. I don't think it's we haven't moved against a confirmed uptrend yet, but we've got to start changing the way we're investing right now a little bit, because I do think we're going to have to be a little bit more defensive. We're going to take a look at the Nasdaq Composite. Let's see if I can pull that up. This is the Nasdaq Composite. This is the entire Nasdaq here, and as you can see, it fell significantly. It came right down, and then basically it moved through that 10-day line. So definitely this is sort of looking like a changing character. Probably tomorrow we'll have a rally to the 10-day line, but we may have changed direction. So I think that's a very, very good question, because I definitely am kind of sensing, we came all the way up here to the 16,000, and then basically we've got two red bars in a row. We're below the 10-day line. Probably what's going to happen here, we may come down, and we're going to probably test we're probably going to test the 21-day line. We may test the 40-day line. I don't think we're going to go down to the 200-day line, but we may come down below that. So we may come down to about this level in the next few days, if you can see that. So I think what we've got to start doing now is looking at our portfolio and setting those stop losses up so that when it pulls back, we'll be able to to come out, come out with some good, with some good profit there. So I definitely see a change in the direction. I think you're absolutely right. With that comment, I think that's just right on the money. And I definitely think, it's not official yet, but it's starting. It's definitely starting. Inflation report tanked the market. Absolutely. Is this a buying opportunity? Well, I think that it potentially could be a buying opportunity, but not yet. We're going to have to kind of wait until we test, until we move back down. So we're probably going to have to move out of stocks at least for the time being, and move sort of back into cash, kind of waiting for for opportunities. I want to take a look at the Dow Jones industrial overall, and it's sort of the same story here. I think you can see it. We're pulling back. We're below that 10-day line. It does look like potentially reversal. Now, we will see. Tomorrow's going to be critical because we may get support at that 10-day line. If that's the case, then we'll continue on the upward trend. But I'm thinking that we're probably going to test the 21-day line. That's my guess. So this is the Dow here. So I do think that we need to be very careful about our losses. This is very, very important when we get into a situation like this where the market may be changing. I do think that we need to we need to be very, very careful. So we need to set our stop losses up. So that we don't round trip any of the profits that we've had in about the last 2 weeks or so. So this is really, really important. Is on your stocks, go through your list, see where you bought them, make sure that you have a stop at least at 7% down from where you bought it, and possibly higher, maybe 3 to 4% if you're doing. You need to protect your profit now because we may get a pullback and a test, and you don't want to round trip that any gains that you have. So it probably is a good time to start looking to ratchet up our stop losses. It really is. Okay, well, let's get to the stocks. Thank you very much. Let's look at AMD and see. Now, I did sell out of AMD, right before the pullback. I did some profit taking. As you can see, I on the 9th, basically, which was yesterday, I sold on the pullback to 144.77. The reason, and you see, this is why you want to set your stop losses up here, because if you can see this, because this is how you protect your profits. We moved way up. I moved my stop loss up. It pulled back. It looks like probably AMD is going to test. I think it's going to test at least at the minimum, it's going to test the 10-day line. So what we've got to be concerned about, not a good opportunity to buy yet. Let's see if it pulls down and then potentially bounces. There may be a buying opportunity shortly on this one, but right now I don't think there is. I'm going here to the 15-minute chart to kind of show you kind of where I think the intermediate support level is, and that's right at about 135. So I do believe it's probably going to test 135, and it may actually even test 130. We don't want to buy it as it's moving down. We want to buy it as it rebounds. That's the key. So if you go to the weekly chart here, you can see it came out of this multiple base on base. We had a double bottom, we had a cup with handle, then we had another double bottom. That's a very strong pattern, and that's what caused it to shoot up here. I do think it's going to readjust probably down to the 21-day line. So here's what I would be looking to do. I would watch list AMD right now, and if we get support at 130, that's probably where you could start coming back in. But right now, I don't think you can, because I do believe, just like the rest of the market and the Nasdaq, this is definitely pulling back, and it's going to test. It's going to come up, and then it's going to come down and test. So right now, I'm looking probably at it coming back to at least the 21-day, testing the 21-day line. It's about 127. The 10-day line is is at 132. I think it's going to go through the 10-day line and test at the 21-day line. So that's where I think we're going to get, that's where I think we're going to get a test on AMD. So here's what I would do right now with AMD. I would be very careful with it. I would not buy it right now, but I definitely would watch list this. So watch list AMD, and if we get support at 127, which is the 21-day line, then potentially buy, then possibly buy. A 1/2 position. So that's kind of how I would play it. AMD is moving very, very nicely. Even though it's pulled back, it's coming back. It's reverting back to this mean, as you can see. The thing about it is if a stock pulls up too quickly, too fast, it will revert back to the mean. So this is kind of the line here that I'm drawing. This is sort of the mean line, and definitely has pulled back to this mean line. So if we get support, hopefully we'll get support, at the 10-day line, which is about which is about 134. But we more than likely, I'm afraid we're probably going to get support at the 21-day line, and that's about 127. So watch this thing, see how it pulls back. If we get support, then as it moves higher, that's where you want to start coming into it. I wouldn't come into it with a full position, though. I would look for a half position. And here's what I mean by a position. If you have a portfolio, let's say your portfolio is worth a total of $8,000. You divide that by 8. That gives you 8 full positions, kind of like pizza slices. These pizza slices then are how much you invest as you're going into the stock. Now, if you're above a buy point, an actual buy point, then you could probably go in full position. With AMD, what we're just talking about, I would not go in with a full position if it reverses at about 127. That's the level. I would possibly go in with a half position, which in the case of the example $8,000 portfolio would be $500 worth of AMD stock. So that's kind of in a nutshell. I know it's I'm explaining it kind of quickly, but by doing this, setting your stop losses 7% below where you bought them, your maximum exposure on your portfolio is about 1%, which is very, very good. So in this market, we want to be very careful about the way we come into stocks because we want to limit our risk. That's super important in a market like this. Let's take a question from TikTok. Thank you so very, very much. Let's see. More likes contract more. Absolutely. Please like. Oh, by the way, thank you very much for saying that. Did you get? Sir, do not miss out. On link. Okay. Let's see about when should I enter DAL or okay. This is a question that's coming from TikTok. Thank you very, very much. Let's look at DAL. That's Dallas. That's Delta Airlines. Right now I think we got to be somewhat careful with the travel stocks. We are starting to see the reopening trade, which is a very, very good thing. So I kind of want to, show you this chart. This is the Delta Airlines chart. Now, right now, the transportation airlines portion of the stock market is one of the worst performing areas. It's 174 out of 197. That means it's in the bottom. So typically, I don't like to buy. I like to buy stocks that are where the money is moving to them. Right now, in the whole sector, the airline sector, the money is moving away from that right now. So people are starting to de-invest in the sector. Now let's take a look at the Delta Airlines chart. The Delta Airlines chart is in this consolidation range, and it has been moving up, which is good because it was so hammered during the COVID downturn. As you can see, it fell from 60 here. but I am still not convinced this is necessarily a good place to buy it. It has come up to the 200-day line. That is looking good, but I just am a little afraid of this area of the market right now, because it just is not getting the kind of it's just not getting the kind of attention that it should. So here's what I would say with DAL for Delta Airlines. Avoid for now. So that's kind of my my take on it. For Delta Airlines, I think you just have to avoid Delta Airlines for now. I just really think you got to avoid it, because I still don't like this pattern. It's below the 200-day line. It's in the bottom of the market in terms of the stock market, in terms of where the money's going. So I would avoid Delta Airlines at least for right now. So that's kind of my take on Delta Airlines. Just because it's a big brand doesn't necessarily mean it's a good stock. I mean, all you have to do is look at AT&T, which has been in the 20s for many years, and it is still not a very good stock, which is hard to believe, because you would think it would be great. Everybody's heard of AT&T, but it's a terrible stock, and that's the case. I'm not saying that Delta Airlines is a terrible stock, but even if you're in the airline area, you don't want to be in Delta. You probably, the one you want to be in is LUV, and that is, that is Southwest Airlines. Let's take a look at let's take a look at Nvidia, and that's been pulling back a lot as well. It's pulling back today. We're still extended, and it doesn't. I'm looking for an potential entry for Delta Airlines. I have to wave my hands. There we go. I'm in a room that has those automatic lights that turn off, so that's what I was doing there. With this one, basically, we're still extended. I'm on the weekly chart. There really isn't a good entry point yet, but I do think that it looks like we may test the 10-day line. And if we do, if we have another down day tomorrow and we test, then we might be able to do it. But here's the thing with Nvidia. I would wait for earnings on this one, just because we're 10 days out. And I think that, I think with that, we've got to be cognizant of that, because it could definitely move on earnings. So for Nvidia, wait for earnings in 7 days to make decision to buy. So that's really kind of what that's kind of really that's kind of really what I think we have to do. We have to move through earnings. I wouldn't buy it right now, just because it's extended and it has these earnings in 7 days. So that indeed is a difficulty. So let's wait about 7 days. Let's see if we get support at that 10-day line. The 10-day line currently is right about 280. So I do think that we're going to pull back probably to about 280 on Nvidia. It's a great stock, and it's definitely worth your time to watch this one. But I just wouldn't buy it now into earnings. It's just too soon to do that. So that's really an issue. We don't want to buy it into earnings. We want to kind of stay out for a while and then see what's happening. I have a question also from TikTok, and this is on Ford. Now, everybody knows that I hold Ford currently, and I do think it's a great stock. I did lighten up on it. I did sell half of my position yesterday. That wasn't a huge position, about 110 shares, not a lot, but it is pulling back a little bit today, only 2 cents, not a whole lot. But I do think it's going to get some support right at about the $19 level. And, I do think this one's going higher. I do think it absolutely is going higher. The automobiles manufacturers has been on a tear. This is where the money in the market is moving. 7 out of 197. So that's very, very high. So what that means is that's where capital is moving into these automobile manufacturers. And right now, Ford is very, very well priced, I believe. And I do think it's going to get support right about the $19 level. Now, can you buy it here? I would probably wait a little bit. Let's see if we get a little bit more of a pullback to possibly maybe $18. That might be a good place to buy it. Again, I sold half my position. I'm waiting for a reversal. If it reverses higher, I'll probably be back in. I'll probably be back into the stock if it does reverse higher. But it's looking very good. I wouldn't buy it right now. I would watch list it, see if it comes back and pulls back down below 19, and then possibly start building a position in it, because it does look like there has been some selling going on, but it's a good stock, and I think it's in a good part of the market. Let's take a kind of a gander at sort of what I'm talking about in terms of the part of the market. I have this listing I'm going to show you here are the industry groups ranked by what is doing the best and kind of what what's doing what's doing the worst. So I'm going to go by what was the best basically last week, and I think coal is still number one. Yeah, it sure is. So we're going to take a look at that real quick here. Coal is still number one in terms of areas. Not a lot to buy in there. There's only about 6 companies in the coal sector. This is the one I think that we've got to look at and concentrate on. The electric semiconductor fabless. This is where AMD is, of course. This is where NVIDIA is, but there's a lot of other ones there as well. Oil and gas. Now today, both of these areas were pulling back, so not a good day to buy it. But this is definitely where we want to be looking for potential buys, because this is where the money is moving into the market. Interesting enough, retail department stores is looking very, very good. So I want to take a quick gander at the retail department stores, see if there's anything that we can buy in that area. I'm going to look at Macy's, because typically that's been a leader, and I haven't owned it in a few weeks, but it does look like it's right above a buy point, and this one might be potentially a good buy. It's the buy point on Macy's is 28.41. You wouldn't think this would be a good buy, but it's pulled back down to the 10-day line. I definitely think we're going to get some support there. So this one might give us an opportunity to come into the stock. It's right at the 21-day line on the weekly chart. This is not a bad place to buy it. It has another formation. You can't really see it, but it's there we go. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, it's what they call an ascending base. This is a very odd formation, but it's very valid, because this is sort of like a base on base on base. It has come through earnings, but there are earnings in 8 days. So this is the one I think we want to watch. I wouldn't necessarily buy this one today, but I'm going to put it on my list as a potential, because I think if this comes through earnings, and it comes through earnings well, earnings are in 8 days on Macy's, this one could be a potential buy. So this is the one I think you've got to possibly put on your watch list as a stock to potentially buy. So what I would do, this is an ascending base. The pivot on this one is 28.41, which is where you probably want to come into it at. This one you possibly could you possibly could buy it. I don't recommend buying it for another 8 days, because it needs to come through earnings. But this is one I think you should definitely watch list, because this is likely to do well this is likely to do well in this fourth quarter. The fourth quarter typically for the retail business is the best quarter. So, for Macy's, I would watch list this and wait for earnings. And wait for earnings in 8 days. Now, why am I talking about I should be talking about tech, right, and everything like that. But here's the thing: it's very, very likely that that's NVIDIA. It's very likely that Macy's it's very, very likely that Macy's will benefit from the inflation trade. So I do expect that coming into, because right now in the retail sector, the department stores are starting to get some pricing power back. There's not going to be as many sales this year. I think their profits are going to be, they've winnowed down their locations. I do think that people are going to spend money on Christmas, but I don't think they're going to take as many trips. I do think they're going to spend money on Christmas, and I have a feeling that the retail department store area may be a good area coming into the fourth quarter. Who knows? But in 8 days, I think you ought to take a look at it because it has good potential of being, I think of being a winner. I think of being a winner. So that's when you want to maybe put on your radar screen. I haven't seen Beyond Meat in a long time, BYND. I was trading this. I've been really trading this in about a year. The biggest fear that I have with Beyond Meat, of course, is that there's a lot of potential there's a lot of potential competition that's going to come in, because the thing about the food business and the food processing business is that you have some mega corporations like ConAgra and that could come in and crush their rivals. And I think that's likely to be the case with Beyond Meat. But it is trading below the 200-day moving average. It has been in a steady downtrend. I would not be a buyer of this one. It's got a relative strength of 8. And the earnings are today. I don't know how they've done in earnings, but it doesn't look good. The after hours number, I don't know. I don't have access to the earnings information, but it looks to me like this is not a good report. It's down $16, 17.5%. So I think Beyond Meat is beyond hope. Don't buy it. I just, don't catch a falling knife on this one. It's just not, it's for right now. It's just not, I don't think you want to be in it. It's just, so, BYND is beyond hope. So, I don't think you want to buy this one. It just, I don't think it's not going to, it's not going to end well. So for Beyond Meat, I just wouldn't buy it. We're going to see what their numbers were, but from what I'm seeing on this after hours report, I don't think it was good, and it's below the 200-day line. So I don't think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be where you want to be at. So I wouldn't be in Beyond Meat. I wouldn't be in Beyond Meat here. So that's kind of my son. Mark says hello to everybody. Hello to you. Absolutely. Let's look at Boeing. Thanks for that suggestion. Boeing, of course, is the largest exporter in the Dow, and unfortunately, because they're exporting to an industry, the travel industry primarily, though they do have a lot of military business, that has not been doing well because of the COVID thing. Because of the COVID problem, they just don't have as many sales because the airlines aren't flying as many planes. So just doesn't look good. We're under the 200-day moving average. Relative strength is 41. It looks like we did have a rally above the reversal line and reactivate that, but it's pulled right back down to the reversal line. So I don't think that this is a good place to buy it right now, Juan. Unfortunately, I think this is not a place to buy Boeing. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. So my recommendation on Boeing is just to skip it for now. Put it on the watch list. It's still a great company, but I just don't think I just don't think Boeing for right now is a good buy. So don't buy Boeing right now. I just think that's it's not a good idea it's not a good idea to oops, that's Beyond Me. It's not a good idea to it's just not a good idea to buy something that's in a downward trend like this. Even though it did make a little bit of a movement up to the 200-day line, it's still below the 200-day line. Just not a stock you want to buy. The trend for Boeing is down, and we don't like to buy downward trending stocks because our chances are greatly decreased by buying a downward trending stock. Now, you can sometimes get lucky and buy it at the bottom, but I find that that's very, very hard to do. I want to be buying stocks that are trending upwards. This is trending downwards. So I wouldn't be a buyer of Boeing right now. It's a good company, but I just think that it's not the stock you want, at least for right now. At least for right now. So oh, look at this, yeah. And thanks you, MB. Great comment. It dumps $15. It's Beyond Me. It's going to have a lot of trouble. So just not where I would want to be on that. But I really thank you for that comment. BGFE looks good in the next 2 weeks. Dividend payout. Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, let's look at BGFE. Let's look at BGFE. Stocks that are paying dividends, that's always a good sign. Big five, yeah. Yeah, I have to agree. Mark. I think you got a sharp eye there. Got to put my lights back on in this building. I'm kind of all by myself here today in the building, so it's kind of weird. But it pulled back. It pulled back down to the pivot, and it's it's getting support. So yeah, big five. Big five is a good one. I have to say it's up after hours. We've come through earnings, a little bit of hit on earnings. Let's look at by the way, what I'm doing here is this is called fundamental analysis because I'm looking at earnings here, not looking at chart patterns. But it reported basically, a few days. It basically reported, and it's down. The sales are down a little bit, profits are down a little bit, but and it did pull back, but it still seems to be holding on the weekly chart, anyways. This 37.75 pivot, so that is a very good sign. Now, this is the weekly chart, not the daily chart. If we go over to the daily chart, we definitely had this pullback, and we're probably going to see. It looks like we're going to see some support probably at the top of the pivot. So I believe that at least looking at this chart here, we're likely to get some support right about 37.50, and we're at 38, and we've got support. So, yeah, I definitely think, Mark, you're right. It is looking very good, and if it can hold this level, it's probably going to go higher. Because retail stocks coming into Christmas, that's typically the best time people want to own them, and with inflation that we have in the market, unfortunately, I think that this one ought to do very well. So I agree with you, Mark. Good call on Big Five. Absolutely, good call on that. Let's look at Rivlin. This just came out. This is the IPO. I didn't buy Rivlin. But the interesting thing about this one, of course, as you know, is that Amazon has a stake in it for some of their trucks. So I don't really know much about it right now. I haven't been following it as close as I probably should. RIVN symbol, and let's pull it out. It's not actually. I don't think it's come out yet. So I don't think it's come out yet. So I can't get. All right. So I can't seem to get that one up. Rivlin. That should be out. And I do have OT out of the money calls on. Okay, cool. Okay, very cool. So that's interesting, Mark. Yeah, definitely. Out of the money calls. Okay, that could pay off. The question is, how far out are you? I'd probably like to go a little bit further out than a few weeks, but you never know. But thanks for that very much. Let's look at Visa for Polly here. And Visa, oh gosh, it is still in that downward trend. So, yeah, we definitely have that. These definitely have that downward trend thing going on here. By the way, on options, let's check in on an option that I have. It's a bear put spread, and these are kind of interesting option plays. Let's see if I can pull that up for you here because I do have this option play, and I kind of want to look back on it to see kind of how it's trading. So let me go see if I can get back to that. Let's see. There we go. Come on. Let's see if I can. Did I put it in there? Did I put it in? No, I thought I had. Thought I had put it. I guess I didn't put it in. Let me see if I can. Well, I can't pull it up, so I can't. For some reason I didn't put it in today's slide deck, but I didn't put it in today's slide deck. But it's a bear call spread, a bear put spread on Zelo, and it's doing quite well because Zelo is not doing very well. So there you go. Okay, Octagen. I don't know what the symbol is on that. Let me get back to you on that one. Here we go. Thoughts on Rivlin, RIVN. So this is the new. Let's take a look at the let's take a look at the chart for Rivlin. Hopefully I can get this right up here. All right, VN. No, it's still not giving me. It's still not giving me a number because I guess it comes out tomorrow. I don't have anything for you, unfortunately. I don't have anything, unfortunately. All right, so I'd probably buy a put spread on, but yeah, that's not a bad idea, Gene. Not a bad idea at all. I think I might put together a bear trade for Beyond because I think it's going to go lower. I think you're very, very right about that. Oh, hey, I'm from Cali area, Bay Area, right? Yeah, I used to live. By the way, I'm originally from the Bay Area as well. I used to. As a matter of fact, I'm finally selling my last connection with California. I have 4 contracts to sell a house that I own with my brother in Monterey. So it's my last. I'm born and raised in the Bay Area. I was born in Palo Alto, actually, but I came here to Texas in 2006. But the prices are high in in the Bay Area, that's for sure. But it's still a great place. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at the Gbtc. Now, there's sort of 2 ways that I've been playing Bitcoin. I haven't been using Bitcoin directly because I don't have charts for that. But there is something called the Gbtc, which is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. I'm going to pull that up here because it's very convenient to be able to buy Bitcoin. Gbtc is what's good about this one is that you can short it and everything just like a regular stock, which is very cool, actually. So here we go. This is the Gbtc. This is the chart for the Gbtc, kind of a proxy for Bitcoin. So here it is. Today we pulled off a little bit, but the volume's up a little bit, but it seems like it's getting some support. The higher high is 52.68. You can see it's 53. It's pulled back a little bit. The one I've been playing, though, and this represents about 4% of the Bitcoin out there. The one I've been playing, though, is another one. It's called BITO, which is the which is the Bitcoin Futures ETF. Now it's down a little bit after hours, so hopefully I didn't screw the pooch in this one. But I definitely think it's got support at about 42. This is a newer ETF that you might want to take a look at to get some exposure in your portfolio to Bitcoin. This is a way that if you have an IRA or something like that, you can't buy. It's really difficult to buy Bitcoin for your IRA, but this is how you can do it with this ETF, the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. This is how you can have Bitcoin in your IRA. This is how I do it. I have IRAs, several, and this is how I trade some things like Ethereum and Bitcoin is by using these proxies, these Bitcoin trusts. So that might be a way that you can do that. And let's look at PayPal. That's probably the last. Take a few more questions. That's probably the last one for today. PYPL. Of course, it's been just pumping a load. I don't know what's going on with Bitcoin. I mean, with PayPal, but it is just horrible right now. It's down to 200, and it's helped by falling, and I can't get up. And boy, don't catch that falling knife. It's up a little bit after hours, but boy, this is just not looking. This is not looking constructive. There's just somebody knows something out there, because they had earnings that were up, and yet everyone sold. So something is going on with PayPal, and I don't know. I view this as one of the potentially one of the great stocks, but boy, I tell you, it's below the 200-day line. It's lost support at the 21-day line. You just can't buy this one. It's radioactive right now. Don't know exactly what is happening with this, but there's just a lot of selling going on here. I mean, I think that we'll see. The support probably is right there. I mean, that's the last support. So we're probably looking at, I'm going to set an alert on, I'm going to set an alert at this level. Let's see if I could see it. Yeah, it looks like support is basically right about this 210 level. So that's kind of where, that's kind of where I see the support for PayPal. Right now we can't do anything, of course, with PayPal because it's falling. But I think this is a support level for PayPal, and I don't know, but anyways, it's all the way down here. So we'll see if there's support. We'll see if it can get support here. This looks like a test, so we'll see. The reason I say that this is potentially support is that this is the former. This is the former buy point, which is right about this 204 level. So this is kind of where it's getting support. So right now with PayPal, just would not buy this. Let's see if we get some support at about 204. Let's see if we get some support here. There's likelihood that we will, because of this former formation here that I can't for some reason access. Let me see if I could go to the weekly charts here to see if it doesn't go quite back that far. This was the former couple of handles, a pivot, and we're well below that. If you go to the weekly chart, there is a there is a cut base with the pivot at 212. So my guess is, let's see if it moves up tomorrow beyond about 212. If it does, then this might be a test. But unless this thing reverses, and it doesn't look like it is, I don't think you can buy this one. I think, unfortunately, right now, PayPal is just in one of those situations. It's just, it's not a good time. It's not a good time and you're catching a falling knife here. So not a good time to be in PayPal. So don't buy it. Wait. It's just it's painful when it's like that. Okay, let's take one more question here. What price should I enter NCLH? I don't know NCLH. I don't think you should buy Delta Airlines. That would be my guess. But NCLH, let's look at that. I don't know that offhand. Okay, Norwegian Cruise Lines. No, I wouldn't buy it. I just wouldn't buy. I wouldn't buy Norwegian Cruise Lines. I know that a lot of people are very interested in it. It's definitely, they had some good sales coming up, but I still think it's below the 200-day line. You might be able to make some money and move it up to 50, but I'm really leery about this. I want to see it move above about 30. I could be so wrong on this, but I just don't think you want to enter Norwegian Cruise Lines. I can't recommend it. I can't recommend it, because I think that we may go down for a third count on on this COVID thing. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for taking time to to drop by my YouTube channel. Please tell other people about the YouTube channel because it really helps. It's a lot of fun to do. I need to get some more viewers. Obviously, I'm getting quite a few actually, 100,000 on TikTok, and we're trying to build our base on YouTube. But please like the show, because if you do, then more people will see it, and hopefully people with questions on entry points, on stocks that they have, might be able to see it and hopefully tune in. So that would be really great. So please like it. By the way, if you aren't already on the action trailer, it's very easy to do. And I say this every day, so you're probably sick of hearing from me on this one. But basically, all you have to do, super easy, is go to www.dallastradingfloor.com, and that will put you on to where you can get on the free action trailers. If you want to join the Discord room, we have a great Discord room. I have a lot of great testimonials from people that have made money. And it is a pay service, $30 a month, but it's a month-to-month thing. And we start off the day kind of as the market opens, and really mostly we try to get set up in the first 2 or 3 hours of the day. And of course, we have some. It's not just me in the trading room; it's other people. We have some really good traders. A guy named Mr. Gecko. I don't know if he's listening, but very good trader. Mark, you might want to join it because you have some great insights on options. I really appreciate your stuff on options. So that's available. It's super easy. Just go to www.Dall's Trading Floor. So until tomorrow, thanks everybody for dropping by so much, and happy trading. This is getting a tough market. We're going to probably have a little bit of a pullback. So set your stop losses up tonight. Even if you're stopped out, try to protect your profits. Don't round trip your profits right now. And hopefully we'll have some good bear trades, some bear option trades for you as well, because I definitely think we're going to enter a little bit of a bearish period. And that's a good way to make money too, by doing spread trades or, just buying puts. There's a lot of options there to make money in a downward. I definitely think we're probably going to see a little bit of pullback towards the end of the year in some of the sectors of the economy, some of the sectors of the stock market. So until tomorrow, thanks everybody. See you tomorrow. Happy trading.